Hi, my name's Steve Bartlett, and welcome to Fight Back every Wednesday night. Well, mostly every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. I come on here and I talk to you about politics and legal issues, and most of the time I rant about the problems that I see in our society at a national level and come up with my ideas about what we can do to make things better. But I always encourage people to fight back, and there's a lot of ways that people can fight back. One way they can fight back is they can have a show like me in which I try to educate people about issues and talk about the misinformation that a lot of people hear a lot. Another way you can fight back is you can become an activist. You can try to go out and protest and try to change the world. But there's another way that you can try to fight back, and that is to actually try to take power. If you don't like the way politics are in this country, you can always run for office. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about somebody who chose to fight back by actually making a difference by running for a political office. Now, this show films in a little town called Port Richey, Florida, in Pasco County, and my law office is located in Pasco County. And there's a bunch of cities in Pasco County, but there's one called Port Richey. And in June this year, we had an election in which a new mayor was elected to be the mayor of Port Richey, where our show is located. And I have the honor and privilege of having our new mayor as a guest tonight on Fight Back, and he's my friend, Scott Trembley. How are you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here with such an established and prominent trial lawyer.
I paid you to say that, though, too,
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and we've known each other for how long? God.
15 years.
15 years, 20
Yes.
years, right?
Yes.
And the way we first met was I was a defense attorney, because I've always been a defense attorney, and you work for the state attorney's office as a prosecutor.
Correct.
Okay, and we had to work and battle against each other in court, but we are friends.
Absolutely.
Despite the fact that we're on the opposite side of the law, you were a prosecutor and I was a defense attorney, we became friends anyway.
It's nothing personal.
Nothing personal. But then
Yes.
you left the state attorney and you started your own practice.
I did do that
Okay.
about 10 years ago. My practice has been active for 10 years in the community.
Okay, but unlike myself, who's just worrying about his business, you've actually decided to give back to society and actually have run for office.
Right, I sit in a similar posture than you in many ways, where within our law practices we can help people on an individual level.
Right.
And we help a lot of individuals, whether they get arrested, they get in an accident, they're going through family problems and divorce. And we help those folks and their individual people and individual families. And the bigger picture is what can we do for everybody in the community. And you, through a talk show, are able to educate people and share ideas and views, which is a really nice thing for the people and the public to have access to.
Right.
And for me, I did it through a different avenue. I ran for office, and probably one reason why you should really get out and vote, I won by a margin of 8 votes. So it's important to get out and vote. And the reason I ran, or one of the reasons I ran for office, is because I wanted to be able to help people in the community as a whole, rather than one individual at a time, as I do in my law practice.
Okay. Now, Port Richey, Florida was in the news lately.
Yes.
Because your predecessor was involved in a huge national embarrassment of a scandal here, in which he was arrested. It's my understanding what the police put in the well, actually, what the journalists put in the newspaper, because that's all I know is what I've read, is that the former mayor of Port Richey was at one time he was a medical doctor, and he had lost his license, and there were allegations that he was practicing medicine without a license. The police had warrants to arrest him for that, and when they showed up to arrest him, gunfire was exchanged, and he was arrested for attempted murder on law enforcement. And then after he was put in jail for that, awaiting trial, the phones were recorded by the jail, and he was then accused of trying to conspire to obstruct justice with the person who was the acting mayor when he was incarcerated, to do something or to set up or investigate the police or something like that. And for the obstruction of justice trial, he was found guilty by a jury recently.
Correct.
Okay, so, and there was this was a national scandal. They were putting this on MSNBC, Fox News, CNN. This was a big deal. And it was an embarrassment to the state of Florida, the people who live here in Pasco County. But then we had an election, and you're now the new mayor.
Correct.
How important is it to you to try to bring normalcy back and to, rehabilitate the credibility of Port Richey?
Well, it's one of my most important functions, and obviously the first part of it was with the mayor and the vice mayor departing, it left open seats available. So having a full functioning government is still going on. There's 2 elections set to happen in September for 2 council seats, which will give us a full quorum to be able to continue on with city business. And right now we've temporarily filled one of those seats, and at the next meeting we may fill the other and have a full panel. So having the fully functioning government is the most important part. But one of the things that I've done, and I've been open to media, I've been open to reporters, I've been open to the public, and I think that the most important thing that we can do in government right now is be transparent. People need to see what's going on, they need to know what's going on, they need to know what projects are happening and where the money's going.
And that's one of the reasons you came on the show tonight. So
Absolutely.
So you can let the people who are watching the show, who live in this community, because a lot of people who are local do watch my show, you wanted the opportunity to say what you're actually planning on doing as mayor.
Correct.
Okay, and so let's give it a shot. What's on the agenda? What are you actually doing?
Well, I can tell you what current projects are going on now that I've been working on.
Okay, let's hear them.
And I broke it down into just different compartments. One of the things that the city has been blessed with is what we call Restore Act money, which is basically the BP spill. There was federal money that was earmarked for our area because it's coastal. We're all on most of Port Richey is on the water.
Okay.
And a nice percentage of the homes are waterfront, and some of the businesses or the major businesses are on the waterfront. If you look at what we call the waterfront overlay district, which is your bigger restaurants, Hooters, Whiskey Joe's, there's Gill Dogs, there's a bunch of really nice restaurants that people travel from all over the county to come dine. Those are all within the city. So what happened is when the BP oil spill happened, there was some money that was earmarked. And we've utilized some of that money to dredge the canals out in front so commercial boats can get through, boat traffic can get through. And some of that will be also used to restore the area, sidewalks, the roads, lighting, all that needs improvement down there.
Now, how long ago was that money given or earmarked for?
It's been earmarked for probably over 5-6 years now.
And what percentage of that money has been spent already?
None of it was just kind of sitting there when I was first elected. So one of the first things I did is I looked at what the plan was supposed to be, and then obviously the committee voted on that to expend the money like it was supposed to be in the federal plans.
Why was the money just sitting there for 6 years instead of spending it to make the community better?
That's one of the things I can't answer for. A lot of things that happened before, and one of the things I have to confess is I wasn't real involved in local politics before I ran, and that's probably one of the reasons people like me is because I came in, I didn't know who Massad was, I didn't know who all these other people were that were involved. So whatever was happening that maybe shouldn't have been happening is not baggage that I carry in, so it's kind of a fresh start for the city.
Had you planned on running for local office before the scandal occurred?
Well, I ran for a county court judge seat before this, but that for me would have been a career change. As you know, I have a local law practice,
Right.
And I would have folded my practice if I took that position. The mayor position actually for me is a very good fit because it's a part-time job, and what I mean by that, there's a city manager that governs everything that the council does. The purpose of the mayor in Port Richey is to preside over the council meetings and to make decisions in terms of budgetary decisions and what's going to happen budget-wise in the community. And then there's full-time staff that carry that out.
What were you thinking of running for mayor, though, before what happened with Massad?
No, I saw what had happened, and it was one of those things that hit home that we have some real problems in the community with our politicians and politically. And with my background and where I've been in life, I knew that I would be able to step up and fill that role and take care of some of those issues and bring Port Richey back to where it should be.
Okay, now everybody knows that ideologically I'm a big liberal. Everybody knows I'm a leftist, liberal, progressive, whatever you want to call me. Everybody knows that. And I have openly campaigned for, liberal candidates for Congress, for Senate, for governor, for president, and I've been very critical of people like Donald Trump. Everybody knows that about me. However, what I've told people again and again, at the local level, ideology doesn't really matter. I don't care if someone's a Democrat or Republican, if it's a local mayor or a local city council member or a local member of county commission or school board. What matters is whether the person has integrity, whether they're hardworking, and whether they can get the job done. because it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican. What you do isn't going to change the law about Roe v. Wade. What you do is not going to make death penalty legal or illegal. You're not going to raise people's taxes. You don't have that ability as mayor.
Right.
But what you can do is, if there's a problem with the roads and there's a bunch of potholes on a road, you can make some phone calls and make that fixed.
Correct.
You can take money that's been sitting there for 6 years that no one's done anything with and use it to spend to make the community a better place, like you've already started to do.
Correct.
Okay. And I guess, ideologically, you are a Republican.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But most people don't know that about you because you're a real middle-of-the-road kind of guy.
I don't really, even when I was campaigning, I didn't advertise what party I was, because in my mind it didn't matter. When I spoke to the people, and it was a grassroots campaign, I told them what my background was and what I could do for the community. And that's really what the people wanted to hear. I don't think most people that I spoke to really were concerned about what party I was in.
Right.
They were more concerned about my background, and they were more concerned in terms of ideas that I had moving forward. And I can tell you, one of the things that I did that's been very helpful is I've listened to everybody, because there's a lot of people in the community that have lived there for 20, 25, 30 years, that have known the history in terms of what's unfolded, and they were able to give me valuable information that I'm now able to use to make better judgments and sound judgments for the city.
Okay. Besides spending the money that was earmarked for the BP bill, what else do you want to do?
There's where Richeys Road, it dead ends coming into where that Walmart is. I don't know if you're familiar with Ridge Road.
Right, sure.
And then across it goes over to Richeys Road, there's the Walmart. It just dead ends there. Well, what happened in our community is Lennar Homes are building a big subdivision back behind there. And what happened is there's a bunch of impact fees that were paid by Lennar Homes, and that was never spent to do anything. And really that money should have been spent to increase the infrastructure. So I'd like to extend the road, which will give new homeowners a way in and out without blocking the only other intersection on the way out.
Now, this money has already been appropriated, though, right?
Correct. It's just sitting there.
So there's no need to raise people's taxes or cut spending on any other projects in order to do what you want to accomplish.
Correct. What I want to do is spend money that was really earmarked for that, put the road in, put sidewalks in, put lighting in, and then, of course, drainage, because we're in a place that floods all the time just because it's coastal, it's tidal, it rains a lot. So I want to build better infrastructure so we get better drainage and hopefully prevent flooding.
Right, and like I said, that's not a Democrat or Republican, liberal, conservative thing. Making better drainage is something that affects everybody, and everybody should be for.
Correct.
Okay.
But the trick is I'm trying to do these projects, and right now, Port Richey boasts the lowest millage rate of pretty much any of these cities around, and certainly the coastal cities. If you compare Port Richey, we're about 5.7 on the millage rate, to New Port Richey, which is up over 9%. Obviously, the people that live in Port Richey are very lucky because the tax rate's very low there. So one of the things that I'm really striving to do is accomplish these things without affecting people's taxes.
Okay. What is there anything unique about Port Richey which makes it different from the rest of the county?
It's coastal. And what I mean by that, it's people that like boating, fishing, that want to live on the waterfront and have that on a day-to-day as part of their lifestyle. Most of those homes are affordable to people that are middle class. And part of that is the low tax rate. So, normally if you go down to Clearwater and you want to buy a waterfront home, you better bring $1 million with you. It's just not going to happen on a blue collar or middle class salary. Where Port Richey, like the house across from me, the house across from where I'm living right now is on the water. It's a 4-bedroom, like 3-bed, or 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, and I think the listing price is $229. So people can move in and afford to live there that have a family and a normal middle-class job. And to be able to live on the water in Florida and afford it with middle-class salaries, I think is very special.
Why do you think it's so, why is property so much cheaper in Port Richey than other parts of Florida?
Part of it's just the tax base. And And I'm not a real estate expert, so I don't know, but I think that Port Richey's not really on the map, or hadn't been on the map until the mayor got arrested, and then the former mayor, or the next mayor, the sitting vice mayor got arrested, and that kind of put the city on the map.
So you think it's just because people didn't know about it? It's kind of like a hidden diamond, a hidden jewel that no one's aware of.
One of the campaign slogans for one of my opponents was, "This is a hidden gem," and there's some truth to that, because
I thought I just made that up myself.
no, it was one of the slogans. So, but it was a very accurate slogan, because it has so much potential because of the geographic location and just the natural beauty. If you go down the river out into the Gulf, there's stilt homes, there's sandbars, it's a stunning view. Even from my house, when you look out, it's on the bayou, you look out over the water and see the sunset. It's just a stunning view.
Okay, so basically you live in paradise.
Yes.
Are there any problems or challenges affecting your community, like need to be overcome?
Well, we're lucky. The crime, we have our own police department. We have our own fire department, Port Richey Police. They provide a great service to the public. Their response times are normally 2 to 3 minutes because the city's so small. And crime is relatively low where we live. There's a couple hot spots, of course. You have the big Walmart and a couple, low-budget motels where you have some more type of criminal activity. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of crime rate. So it's a great place to live and be.
How about the unemployment rate?
That I don't know. I think most people that live there are either employed or retired. I think the cost to live there is enough to where you have to either work or have had some money at some point.
So it's a wonderful place. There's no real major problems in Port Richey. I guess the biggest problem is its reputation and the scandal.
And the leadership at the time.
And the leadership.
Sure.
And what are you doing to try to change that? So that people can actually trust the leadership instead of being criminals.
I come on shows and I'll answer questions, and whether it's the media, whether it's people that come to council meetings, and I'll show anything that's going on, answer any questions. And I think that as people can see what we do at our level of government and can see what's transpiring, I think that trust will come back. A lot of it's just trust.
Now let's assume that most people don't know how politics work. And they don't like to admit that they don't know how politics work. You're the mayor, but there's something called the city council.
Correct.
What does the city council actually do?
The city council consists of 4 council members and a mayor, and they vote on important issues that come up within the city in terms of budget concerns and where to spend the money and the millage rate. We vote on the millage rate and decide, we do decide or have some.
What does the mayor do differently than what the city council?
Well, the mayor presides over the meetings. So I have the pulpit and I control who talks at the meetings and when, using normal Roberts rules is what I use. And then you have the council members who can make motions, second motions, and then we vote on it. I don't even really get a vote unless it's tied 2 to 2. I mean, that's just the way that it works. So really the council people within the city have probably more power than I do in terms of being able to make motions, second motions, and vote.
Okay, but the ideas that you had about spending that money that was earmarked, was that your idea? Or was that somebody on the council's?
That was, but I think while there's sunshine laws, we don't talk about it outside. Once it was on an agenda and we were able to talk about it in public, we decided that was, or at the meeting, that was the best thing to do with it. But it was something that I agreed, because one of the things is the council and the mayor, we do have some control over what goes on the agenda. And that was one of the things I wanted to see come up so we could make some progress. Same with the Richeys Road expansion. It's a big project because you're talking new roads, sidewalks, lighting, and it's going to be really beneficial to the community.
How often do they have those city council meetings?
Every 2 weeks.
And it's open?
Open to the public, and it's same as this type of show. It's streamed online, and you can look anytime at the Port Richey website. You can go on and look at any of the meetings.
And where is it located?
Well, we hold them at City Hall, which is the city building on Ridge Road.
Do you have the address in case people are watching and they might want to attend?
I'll have to look it up.
I'm fairly
new. Let me look it up because I'd love to give you that information.
Right. Because you would love as many people to go as possible.
Of course, or just watch. I mean, I never went to the meetings before all this happened, but I would watch on occasion to see just what was going on. So the address for City Hall, or where the council meetings are held, would be 6333 Ridge Road, and that's Port Richey, Florida, 34668. And this is the mayor card they gave me. I just got these.
You got your own mayor card.
I did.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I got to call you Your Honor here. That's the correct term for a mayor, right?
No, you have to call me Scott. We've known each other way too long.
Yeah, but we're in Port Richey, and you are the mayor. So, but are people allowed to ask questions at those meetings?
Absolutely. What happens is, and I think it's important, we open, in the beginning, we open the podium, we give everyone 3 minutes in the public that want to speak about any kind of issue they want, just general comments.
So if somebody wants to become active in the community and they want to actually have their voice be heard and have an idea about how they can make the community better, all they have to do is go to that meeting at the location you just gave, and you will let them speak, and you'll listen to them.
And they sign in, and we listen to them. And a lot of times we can answer some of the questions they have, and sometimes we hear concerns that we're not aware of, which is nice. So we can send, because there's 60 employees within the city, so we can send the appropriate people to investigate and take action.
And how long do you get to be mayor for?
The term that I took was to complete Mr. Massad's term, which would have been through this April. So theoretically, I could have to run again in April of this next year, 2020.
Okay, so you'll have to run again.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I hope you can come back on the show and give us an update about what's going on in the local community, because this is where my show is, so I have an incentive about what happens in Port Richey and it remaining a good place to be. Are you doing anything to promote any other type of economic development?
I am. Well, the waterfront overlay district is the biggest because you have the restaurants and a lot of people. It's the one area in our city where people travel from outside in and spend money. But not necessarily economic development, but we do have beautiful parks that are on the water. So for example, on the 6th of July, which was the Saturday after, the city put on a big fireworks display, and we had the police department out there for goodwill. We had the police department, fire department, they had a fireboat, which so put fires out on the water. So the public was able to come out and see the show and kind of see all the people involved in our community. But I want to have more functions like that to keep the community kind of active. Put movies on for the kids out there. We had, for the other event, I went and I found some snow cone makers and popcorn machines for the kids so they could have free snacks while they were out there for the fireworks.
Oh, that's cool.
So I want to do more events like that and be able to have people bring their families out to the parks and have different events out there.
Well, that's terrific. That really is good. Now, do you have future ambitions? Is this like a stepping stone? Like, okay, next year I will be the governor of Florida, then I'm going to be president, or are you just taking it one step at a time?
I like this position, and it suits me very well. So I really don't have those ambitions. I want to keep my law practice is thriving, it's active, and we see each other in court all the time. So,
sure.
So we both have active, very good law practices in the community.
Right. You're not some fat cat politician. You have a regular day job.
Correct.
Right.
And this is something that I did really because as civic duty, someone needed to step up and do it honestly, do it correctly, and try and fix the situation.
It must have been embarrassing living here, because you have to live in Port Richey to run for mayor.
Yes.
And living here and seeing, your community being the laughingstock of the nation on national news.
Correct.
And is that the main reason why you decided that you should bring integrity back? And
that was one of the main reasons I ran. Because with my background, having been through as a prosecutor, having a law firm, running a successful business, I thought those were all tools that would be used to really help the city turn it around and hopefully be transparent and correct some of those reputation issues.
Okay. Well, when you were running for election, there were other people who were running who ideologically were very very liberal, people I've known as well. And I agree with them on political issues, and I've been friends with them a long time. But I told people who I knew that, hey, I have a friend who's running who's a Republican, but like I say, character is more important than anything else. Character is more important than ideology. And I said, this guy, when he was a prosecutor, was one of the most ethical prosecutors I ever knew. when he became a defense attorney, became one of the most ethical defense attorneys that I've ever known. And so I'm really proud that you're my mayor.
I appreciate that, and we were lucky. It was an election where there were qualified people that put in. It was a close election. One of the people that ran that had a lot of votes, that was third place, is temporary on the council now. So Todd McClary, we put on, he was voted on part-time, and I think he's running for a council seat. And he has an engineering background, construction background, Penn State University degree. So bringing that kind of education and background, other than just my position, but to fill some of the other seats, I think is really beneficial to the city.
And you're a family man. You have a wife and how many children?
1 7-year-old boy.
Okay. So you have a full-time job, and you have a full-time family, and you're also giving back to the community.
But a lot of it goes hand in hand. Like my wife and my son, they love like the fireworks. We went. Of course, when I was talking to people and they knew I was the mayor, but my wife and my son love the park. They love the fireworks. My son ate the snow cones and the popcorn, and so they kind of go hand in hand within the community. And that's one of the things that's been really nice is being the mayor, being more involved in the community, and my family being more involved in the community, and they really like that.
Well, we have to get going because
Yes.
we're running out of time.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Remember, everybody, there's a lot of different ways to fight back. This is one way. Do it your way. And remember, I'll see you next week.